there, my name is Shea Yamosu and I am one of the doctoral interns at the Counseling Center. Today, I'm going to show you how to make two different kinds of paper snowflakes, or paper flowers, mandalas. People refer to them as lots of different things. But this has been one of my favorite activities since I learned how to make them like way back in elementary school. And I love them for a couple of reasons. First, you don't need any expensive supplies to make these. All you need is some paper and some scissors, and that's about it. And the second reason that I love this activity is that it's actually really great for mindfulness. So mindfulness is the practice of shifting our awareness into the present moment. And I know for me personally, when I'm having a hard time quieting my thoughts, having something that's repetitive and something that's calming to do really allows me to shift my focus away from things that might be on my mind into the activity that I'm currently doing. So I'm going to demonstrate these. I'm going to use plain white paper because that's the easiest to see, but you can use any paper that you like, and I actually think that these look especially cool if you use like colorful magazine pages or colorful like scrapbook paper, because it adds some cool like dimension when you fold them or when you unfold them. And remember, I'm just demonstrating one way to do these, but the great thing about this activity is that it's kind of a surprise each time you make them. They're all going to look different, and so there isn't really a wrong way to do them. And so follow along the best you can, but if yours turns out a little bit different, great, and that's actually the whole point. Okay, so I've angled the camera down a little bit so you can see what I'm working on a little bit better. And the first type of snowflake that I'm going to demonstrate is this one. And so the first thing that you're going to want to do is take a piece of printer paper and fold it in half, like this. And then you're going to want to take your scissors and just cut up the fold so that you have two pieces of paper that are about the same size. And again, it's okay if this is not perfect. Okay, so now you have these two pieces. You can set one of them aside, and you're going to want to fold the half that you have into an accordion. Oops. So you'll just go back and forth up the entire page like this. And try and get them as even as possible so that your snowflake will be the same height all the way around, but it won't really make that big of a difference if it turns out that some of the folds are uneven. And I don't know if you can see, but mine are a tiny bit, and we're just not going to worry about it. So then you're going to want to take a stapler and just put a staple halfway through, like that. So you should have a piece of paper that's folded like an accordion with a little staple in the middle. And then you can draw any design on here that you like, right? I would suggest using a pencil, but I've actually already got one that I've prepped, and I'll show you. I just drew like a little squiggle, and I like making mine symmetrical kinda on both sides. It's not perfect, but so that my snowflake has kind of the same pattern on both ends. So you're going to want to draw any kind of design. I used a marker just so you could see it a little bit better, but I would suggest using a pencil just so that you don't end up with black marks on your finished product. So then you're just going to want to cut along the lines that you've made. So I'm going to do that right now. I would suggest doing this over or near a trash can as well, because as fun as this is, you do end up with lots of little paper scraps that kind of go everywhere. That might be a little bit of a mess to clean up if they end up on the floor. So I've cut out the top so far, and now I'm just moving to the bottom. I'll pause and let you see what it looks like so far. So here's where I'm at so far. And I'm just going to do the exact same thing along the lines on the bottom. Almost there. might find that since it's several pieces of paper, you might have to go back and forth over some places just to make sure. Oops, I got that paper all over the place. You might want to go back and forth over some lines just to make sure that you cut over, or you cut every single fold. And then when you're done, you should have something like this that kind of shows the shape that you drew. And then from there, the last thing, or the last step, is just to unfold it and see what pattern turned out. And so what I like to do is I unfold the top like this, okay? And it has produced this like really cool flower design that's actually very different than this one that I made a little bit earlier today. And then you're gonna wanna unfold the bottom. And to keep the two ends together, what I like to do is just get a little bit of tape and just tape the edges together like that. So where the two different sides that you cut out meet, right here, you're just gonna take a piece of tape and stick them together like that. And then there you have it. I finished a little paper snowflake or flower or mandala. And each time you do this, no matter if you try and draw the exact same pattern, you'll end up with something that looks a little bit different every time. And I think that that is kind of one of the fun and really special parts about this project. But here we are, pretty simple, but also very fun. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate a second type of paper snowflake that looks like this. And I think that this is a kind that people are maybe a little bit more familiar with. So I'm going to set that one out of the way. And again, I'm starting just with a piece of printer paper. You're going to want to take one corner and fold it up to the edge like this. So it should look like this. And then you're just going to want to take your scissors and trim this little extra edge off right here. So you should be left with a triangle. And then fold that triangle in half again. So you should have a smaller triangle. And then with the point facing up and away from you, you're going to want to take one edge and fold it up like that. And then you're going to want to do the same thing on the other side. Like this. I kind of think about it as like the two ends hugging a little bit. So once you have this, you're going to want to take your pencil and draw some kind of design over the piece of paper. Right? And I'll show you an example that I already did. So something like this, and it could look like whatever you want. I use magic marker so it would be easier to see, but I would again suggest using pencil so that the lines don't show up on whatever you are working on. And then you are just going to want to take scissors and cut out along the lines that you've drawn. I wouldn't recommend doing a pattern that's too intricate unless you have really little scissors because it might get a little bit tricky to cut out. Okay. So I'm almost done with one half, and once I've done this half, I will pause for a minute and show you kind of what it looks like. There we have half of it. And again, it's okay if your design isn't perfectly symmetrical or symmetrical at all. Kind of part of the fun is experimenting with different things and seeing what it looks like. And it certainly doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, I have a couple more places to cut out. I'm done cutting along my lines, and now for the fun part. where we unfold and see how it turns out. And be gentle when you're unfolding because you don't want to rip it on accident. Okay, and here's what we've got. So I'll hold it a little closer so you can see. There we are. Here's what it looks like on the other side. And you're all finished. So there you have it, 2 different ways to make paper snowflakes. I hope you have fun experimenting with different patterns and different designs and different kinds of paper. Things can feel pretty stressful right about now, and so I always find it nice to have an activity that can bring your awareness into the present moment and help you be mindful.